fattest player. The legendary English goalkeeper William Falk, known affectionately as Fatty Falk, holds one of the most incredible records in the history of the beautiful game. During his career, which spanned the late 19th and early 20th centuries, this massive man saw his weight reportedly balloon up to a staggering 152 kilograms. That made the 1.93 metre shot stopper the heaviest professional footballer to ever grace the pitch, casting an imposing, almost comical shadow over his penalty area. Despite his truly gargantuan size, or perhaps even because of it, Falk was a formidable presence. He enjoyed a distinguished career with titans like Sheffield United and Chelsea, securing a First Division title in 1898. He was a force of nature. Stories persist that he once chased a referee off the field after a disputed goal, a feat which required some serious stamina for a man of his stature. In the modern game, while nobody approaches Falk's extreme, players like the incredible Brazilian striker Ronaldo famously battled weight issues, topping out at around 115 kilograms at his heaviest, yet still achieving World Cup glory. His sheer power and skill proved that sometimes a little extra ballast is just part of the magic. Oldest professional player. In an era where 40-year-old superstars are hailed as medical marvels, Kazuyoshi Miura, or King Kazu, exists in a different reality. He is the oldest professional footballer in history, a record he personally extends with every season he plays. As of 2024, at the astonishing age of 57, he was not a ceremonial figure, but a fully rostered player in Portugal's professional league. His unparalleled journey began in 1986 in Brazil, long before most of his current teammates were born. He was the iconic poster boy for the launch of Japan's J-League in 1993 and became the first Japanese player to win the Asian Footballer of the Year award. Decades later, his career persists, spanning 5 different decades. While his explosive pace is long gone, he compensates with timeless technical ability and a legendary, unmatched professionalism that keeps him signed. While other icons retire to the history books, King Kazu is a living timeline of the sport, holding a record of longevity that isn't just remarkable. It is, by its very nature, unbreakable. Shortest player. The title of the shortest professional footballer is widely held by Elton José Xavier Gomes, the diminutive Brazilian attacking midfielder who stands at 154 centimetres. Despite his stature, Gomes built a remarkable and geographically varied career spanning nearly 2 decades across multiple continents. Known for his incredible close control, low centre of gravity, and ability to navigate tight spaces, traits often compared to his childhood idol, Diego Maradona, Elton forged his reputation primarily in the Middle East. He earned the nickname Elton Arabia during his most successful spell with Saudi Arabian club Al Fateh. His time at Al Fateh was his career peak, where he played a pivotal role in leading the club to its first ever Saudi Professional League title in the 2012 to 2013 season. He followed this up by scoring the winning goal in the Saudi Super Cup. His longevity and technical skill allowed him to sustain a high-level career, moving between clubs in Brazil, Romania, and various Middle Eastern leagues until his retirement, proving that in football, unique talent and tenacity often matter more than physical size. Own goals. In the annals of football, there is one record so comically tragic, it may never be broken. It belongs to Belgian defender Stan van den Boys, who, in a 1995 match for Germinal Ekkeren against Anderlecht, suffered the worst day of his professional life. He scored a perfect hat-trick, entirely into his own net. The nightmare unfolded in 3 distinct acts of misfortune. His first was an unlucky deflected cross. His second was a catastrophically mistimed clearance that he shanked past his own keeper. The third, a final despairing header, cemented his infamous record. Germinal Ekkeren ultimately lost the match 3-2. Van den Boys had single-handedly provided all of Anderlecht's goals. This record's unbreakable status comes from its sheer improbability. An own goal is a statistical anomaly. 3 in a single game by the same player defies the laws of probability. Furthermore, any manager today, he would almost certainly substitute a player after 2 such errors, if only out of compassion. It's a cosmic curse a record of such specific, haunting misfortune that it will stand forever. Most fouled player. While many fans criticise Neymar Jr. for his theatrical diving, the data suggests he has every reason to be wary of defenders. According to statistics from Soccer Pro, Neymar is officially the most fouled player in Europe's top 5 leagues. Since 2016, the Brazilian superstar has been hacked down a staggering 1,040 times while playing for Barcelona, PSG, and the Brazilian national team. To put that into perspective, he suffered over 200 more fouls than Lionel Messi in the same period. Neymar's flair, provocative dribbling, and signature rainbow flicks make him a primary target for frustrated defenders, who often prefer to kick him rather than chase him. On average, he is illegally halted once every 21 minutes. He is on the pitch. His most infamous record came during the 2018 World Cup, where he was fouled 10 times in a single match against Switzerland, the highest number for any player in a World Cup game in 20 years. Despite his reputation for rolling, the sheer volume of contact has led to numerous serious ankle injuries, proving that being the most skilled player on the field often comes with a painful, bruising price. Biggest blown lead, the most celebrated comeback in modern football history, particularly for a single game, is the 2005 UEFA Champions League final between Liverpool and AC Milan in Istanbul. AC Milan, featuring a legendary lineup with players like Maldini, Pirlo, and Shevchenko, delivered a stunning first half. Captain Paolo Maldini scored in the first minute, and Hernan Crespo added 2 more goals, sending Milan into the half-time break with an apparently insurmountable 3-0 lead. Commentators and fans believed the match was over, a routine victory for the Italian giants. However, Liverpool, led by their captain, Steven Gerrard, staged an unbelievable 6-minute comeback at the start of the second half. Gerrard scored in the 54th minute, followed by goals from Vladimir Šmicer in the 56th and Xabi Alonso in the 60th, remarkably levelling the score at 3-3. Despite Milan regaining their composure and having chances to win, most notably a double save by goalkeeper Jerzy Dudek in extra time, the match went to a penalty shootout. Liverpool won 3-2 on penalties, completing one of the most stunning and consequential blown leads in a major European final, forever earning the match the moniker, the Miracle of Istanbul. 44 years at one club. When we talk about loyalty, we're really talking about Guy Roux, the French manager who spent 44 consecutive years at the helm of AJ Auxerre. This is not a typo. He took over the amateur regional league club in 1961 and didn't leave until 2005. He was manager, club doctor, stadium advertiser, and chief scout all in one. He took this tiny, unknown village club from the lowest rungs of French football all the way to the First Division, which he won in 1996. He also won the Coupe de France 4 times and even competed in the Champions League. To put this in perspective, the next longest-serving manager is decades behind him. In today's game, where a manager is lucky to last 44 months, the idea of a 44-year reign is a fantasy. It's a record of loyalty, obsession, and community building that is completely alien to the modern high-stakes globalised sport. It will never ever be broken. Fastest red card. The undisputed record for the fastest red card issued to a player in a professional football match is held by Serge Djehua. This infamous incident occurred in 2013 during a Greek second division game between his club, AEO Glyphadas, and Olympiakos Volou. Djehua was brought onto the pitch as a substitute late in the second half, with the hope that the Ivorian striker could spark a late rally for his team. However, his eagerly anticipated cameo lasted an astonishingly brief 3 seconds before the referee brandished the straight red card. As Djehua sprinted toward the centre circle to join the play, he committed a definitive off-the-ball foul, delivering an elbow or shove that made undeniable contact with an opposing player's face. The opponent immediately went down, and the referee, having witnessed the contact, instantly deemed the action to be violent conduct. This resulted in the instantaneous dismissal of the striker, leaving his teammates in disbelief. The swiftness of the sending off cemented Jehua's place in football history, earning him the unfortunate notoriety of having the shortest playing time for any red-carded player in professional competition. Goals in a single World Cup match. Oleg Salenko of Russia holds the record for the most goals scored by one player in a single World Cup game, bagging 5 against Cameroon in 1994. The wildest part of this record is the context. This was a dead rubber group stage match. Russia was already eliminated from the tournament. With nothing to lose, Salenko just went nuts. He had a hat-trick by halftime and then added 2 more in the second half. His performance was so prolific that he ended up sharing the tournament's golden boot with Hristo Stoichkov, despite playing only 3 games. He's the only player in history to win the golden boot for a team that was knocked out in the group stage. In the modern World Cup, defences are far too organised, even in lopsided games. When Germany beat Brazil 7-1, the goals were spread among 6 different players. For one man to score 5, a team would have to completely and utterly capitulate on the world's biggest stage. This record is a statistical anomaly. Youngest professional player. While most 12-year-olds are worrying about homework, Maurizio Baldivieso was making his professional football debut. On July 19th, 2009, the Bolivian midfielder set a world record as the youngest player to appear in a national top-flight division, taking the field for Club Aurora at just 12 years and 362 days old. The debut wasn't without controversy. The team's manager happened to be his father, Bolivian legend Julio Cesar Baldivieso. The coach subbed his son on in the 81st minute against La Paz FC as an early birthday present. The gift turned brutal almost immediately when a defender levelled the boy with a late, cynical tackle. Mauricio left the pitch in tears for medical treatment, but showed veteran grit by returning to finish the match. The fallout was swift. Outraged by what they saw as blatant nepotism and a risk to the child's safety, the club's board demanded that Mauricio not be played again. In a show of fatherly defiance, Julio Cesar refused and promptly quit his job. Although an 11-year-old has since appeared in the Liberian 4th Division, Baldivieso remains the youngest to ever play at the highest professional level, proving that sometimes taking your kid to work day goes a bit too far. Player traded the most times. Nicolas Anelka holds the record for the most transfers between elite European clubs in history. He was permanently transferred a staggering 12 times and played for 12 different clubs across 6 major European nations, covering nearly every top league. Drafted from the PSG Youth Academy, Anelka started his elite career with a move to Arsenal in 1997. After 2 impactful seasons, he secured a blockbuster, world record fee trade to Real Madrid. This set the tone. He became a brilliant but fleeting presence everywhere he went. He was then traded back to Paris Saint-Germain, followed by a quick loan to Liverpool, before being traded to Manchester City in 2002. Over the next decade, Anelka was traded almost every 2 years, playing for Turkish giants Fenerbahce, Bolton Wanderers, and finally his most consistent spell at Chelsea, where he won the Premier League Golden Boot. But the true insanity of his journey lay in his final globe-spanning acts. First, there was the pioneering, high-profile switch to the Far East, landing in the Chinese Super League with Shanghai Shenhua in 2012. And then he completed the trifecta of a true global journeyman, heading to South Asia. In 2014, Anelka became a marquee star for Mumbai City FC in the high-voltage Indian Super League, even taking on the role of player-manager. 128 league goals in a season. The all-time record for goals in an English top-flight season belongs not to a modern super club, but to Aston Villa's 1930-31 team. They achieved a truly staggering 128 goals, a feat of pure unadulterated offence, averaging 3.04 goals per match. Their star striker, Tom Waring, contributed a remarkable 49 goals himself. But here is the central paradox of their chaotic season. They didn't even win the league. They finished runners-up to Arsenal, ultimately undone by their own philosophy. This team was a spectacular glass cannon, While they scored 128, they conceded a disastrous 78 goals at the other end. This record is a beloved relic from a pre-tactics era, a time of 5 forward formations where defending was a mere suggestion. For context, Manchester City's lauded Centurion team scored 106 goals, a full 22 goals fewer than Villa, with modern, sophisticated defensive structures and tactical analysis. No team will ever be this prolific or this gloriously unbalanced again. Worst team. The undisputed worst season in Premier League history belongs to Derby County during the 2007 to 2008 campaign. Their performance set multiple records for futility that remain unbroken, cementing their place as the benchmark for top-flight failure. Derby County finished the season with a pitiful total of just 11 points from 38 matches, achieving a solitary win against Newcastle United early in the season. Their overall record stood at 1 win, 8 draws, and a staggering 29 losses. This resulted in an abysmal winning percentage of just 2.6%. The club also set the record for the most goals conceded in a 38-game Premier League season with 89. Adding to the ignominy, they were relegated from the Premier League earlier than any other team, with 6 games still to play. The team had 3 different managers during the turbulent season, starting with Billy Davies and concluding with Paul Jewell, who oversaw the majority of the losses. Despite the collective struggle, striker Kenny Miller led the team in scoring with only 4 goals. The financial strain and the painful statistics from that year left an indelible mark on the club's history. It remains a stark reminder of the massive gulf in quality that can exist in the world's most competitive football league. Roger Miller, oldest World Cup scorer. Roger Miller is the oldest goal scorer in World Cup history, netting a goal at the 1994 USA World Cup at the age of 42 years and 39 days. This is a record of pure, timeless joy. Miller was already a legend from 1990, where he came out of retirement at 38 to lead Cameroon to the quarter-finals. The president of Cameroon personally called him again in 1994 and asked him to play. He came on as a substitute against Russia, and despite his team being thrashed 6-1, he scored a consolation goal. He then ran to the corner flag and performed his iconic dance, creating one of the World Cup's most enduring images. In the modern game, with its obsession with pace, pressing, and athletic metrics, no 42-year-old field player would ever make a World Cup squad. Miller's record is a relic of a time when a player's individual talent and national hero status could outweigh their birth certificate. The Card King. While players usually dominate the highlights, Spanish referee Antonio Mateo Lahoz became a global superstar for his love of the spotlight and his pocket. Known for his theatrical officiating and constant chatting with players, Lahoz holds several records for disciplinary chaos, most notably for turning high-stakes matches into card festivals. His most infamous international record came during the 2022 World Cup quarter-final between Argentina and the Netherlands, known as the Battle of Lucelle. In a single chaotic night, Lahoz brandished a record-breaking 18 yellow cards and 1 red card. He managed to infuriate both Lionel Messi and the entire Dutch squad simultaneously, proving that he didn't need to be a player to be the most talked about person on the pitch. Over his career, Lahoz handed out more than 1,500 yellow cards and over 60 red cards in professional matches. Just weeks after his World Cup meltdown, he returned to La Liga and set a domestic record in the Catalan derby by showing 17 cards in one game. While Gerardo Bedoya holds the record for players, Lahoz is the undisputed king of the officials when it comes to keeping the cards flying, retiring in 2023 with a legacy of pure, unadulterated drama. Biggest half-time deficit. The record for one of the largest half-time deficits in international football was set during an extraordinary display of dominance by the Australia national team on April 11th, 2001. In a qualifying match for the 2002 FIFA World Cup, Australia faced the American Samoa national team. By the time the halftime whistle blew, Australia had already surged to an unprecedented 16-0 lead. The match's remarkably lopsided scoreline was largely due to American Samoa's logistical and eligibility issues, which forced the team to field a squad heavily reliant on inexperienced youth and junior players. Despite the disparity, the Australian players continued their offensive onslaught. The final result saw Australia win 31-0, setting the official world record for the largest victory in a senior international football match. While the final score often overshadows the midpoint, the 16-0 halftime deficit stands as the extreme benchmark for mid-match dominance in the history of competitive international football. 350-plus career assists. While goals get the glory, Lionel Messi holds the unofficial but widely cited record for the most assists in football history, with over 350. This number is almost as impressive as his goal tally. For his entire career, he has been both the greatest goal scorer and the greatest playmaker on the pitch. He holds the record for the most assists in La Liga history, the most in Copa America history, and the most in a single La Liga season. This record is unbreakable because it requires a unique, paradoxical skill set, the unselfish vision of a number 10 combined with the ruthless finishing instincts of a number 9. Most players are one or the other. Messi is both. Players like De Bruyne, Ozil, or Miller were assist specialists, but none had the sheer volume or longevity of Messi, who was racking up 20 assist seasons while also scoring 50 goals. Worst losing streak. In the English Premier League, Sunderland holds the unenviable record for the longest losing streak, an extraordinary run that spanned 2 separate seasons and totalled 20 consecutive defeats. This monumental losing run began at the end of the 2002 to 2003 season. The team, then managed by Mick McCarthy, suffered 15 straight losses to close out the campaign, finishing bottom of the table with a meagre 19 points and confirming their relegation from the top flight. They were historically poor, managing only 4 wins all season. However, the disastrous streak wasn't over. After 2 seasons in the Championship, Sunderland earned promotion back to the Premier League for the 2005 to 2006 season. Unfortunately for the club, their form immediately carried over, and they started their new top-flight campaign by losing their first 5 matches in a row. This extended the total streak to 20 losses, officially making it the longest consecutive losing run in Premier League history. The ignominious streak was finally broken in September 2005 with a 1-1 draw against West Bromwich Albion. Despite this small reprieve, the team's struggles continued, and they finished the 2005 to 2006 season with only 15 points, a new Premier League record for the fewest points in a 38-game season, and were relegated once again. 34 consecutive wins. The official world record for consecutive top-flight wins now belongs to Al Hilal, who set a staggering new benchmark with a 34-game victory streak during the 2023 to 2024 season. This relentless run didn't just break the previous professional record of 27 wins, it decisively eclipsed the hallowed 28-game streak set by the iconic 1971 to 1972 Ajax team, a side often considered one of history's greatest. For 5 straight months, the Saudi side, led by manager Jorge Jesus, was an unstoppable machine, competing across 4 demanding fronts: the domestic Saudi Pro League, the Continental AFC Champions League, the Kings Cup, and the Saudi Super Cup. They simply forgot how to lose or draw. Powered by stars like Alexander Mitrovic and Malcolm, this achievement is almost incomprehensible in the modern era. Given today's grueling fixture congestion, intense international travel, and the constant need for squad rotation, such sustained perfection is a marvel. It required not just immense talent, but a collective mental fortitude and a depth of quality that is virtually unmatched in football history. Worst win percentage. Mark Crossley holds the unenviable record for the lowest personal win percentage in Premier League history, a statistic that tragically reflects his immense loyalty to struggling clubs. During his extended career as a veteran goalkeeper, Crossley's teams managed to secure a victory in just 52 games, while suffering 190 defeats. Across his 242 total appearances in the top flight. This left him with a win percentage of only 21%. The vast majority of his time was spent anchoring the Nottingham Forest side from 1992 to 2000, a period defined by multiple cycles of relegation and immediate promotion that severely depressed his overall record. Crossley also had later spells with Fulham and Southampton, where the team's struggles continued. Despite this mountain of losses, Crossley was consistently reliable and often spectacular between the sticks. He recorded dozens of clean sheets and was a standout individual performer. Yet no matter how well he performed in goal, his clubs consistently battled at the wrong end of the Premier League table. Fastest World Cup goal. The record for the fastest goal in World Cup history belongs to Hakan Şükür of Turkey, who scored just 11 seconds into the 2002 third-place playoff match. The opponents were the co-hosts, South Korea, who kicked off the match. In front of a roaring home crowd, their defenders made a fatal error, playing a square pass and then a back pass without looking. Şükür, the bull of Bosphorus, was pressing high. He pounced on the mistake, took one touch, and slotted it past the keeper. The stadium was silenced before most fans had even settled into their seats. The previous record was 15 seconds, set in 1962. To break this record, a player would need to score in 10 seconds or less. This requires a catastrophic defensive error directly from the opening kickoff, combined with a striker who is perfectly positioned and finishes flawlessly. Kickoff routines are practiced to death in the modern era. This was a 1 in a billion fluke that happened on the biggest stage. Slowest player, Per Mertesacker, holds the crown for being the least pacey outfield player in recent top-flight European football. The towering German centre-back, a World Cup winner and an Arsenal legend, was famous not for his speed, but for his profound lack of it, a record of successful defiance against the modern need for raw athleticism. Fans affectionately nicknamed his laboured runs the Mertesacker Mile.
He's too slow.
Standing at an immense 1.98 metres tall, moved across the turf with the stately, unhurried grace of an ocean liner. To truly understand the Mertesacker paradox, consider this. While the fastest Premier League sprint tops out around 38 km per hour, Mertesacker's recorded peak was reportedly closer to 28 km per hour, a massive difference. Yet he anchored defences that secured 3 FA Cups because he didn't rely on a sudden burst of speed. His entire career was built on the superior hardware between his ears. He was a master of defensive positioning, reading the game like a grandmaster who famously stated, "I try to prevent the runs before they happen." The ultimate testament to this genius came in the 2017 FA Cup final. Having played barely a handful of minutes all season, he was thrust into the starting 11 against league champions Chelsea. Despite his rust and notorious pace deficit, Mertesacker delivered a flawless defensive clinic, positioning himself perfectly and organising the backline so dominantly that he effectively nullified Chelsea's speed merchants, securing an improbable victory. It was a performance that proved his career mantra: a brilliant football brain and colossal stature can, and often do, defeat raw athleticism in the beautiful game. 5 consecutive European Cups. From 1956 to 1960, Real Madrid established a dynasty that will never be replicated, winning the first 5 consecutive European Cups. This was the era of Di Stefano, Puskás, and Gento, a team of Galacticos before the term even existed. They culminated this reign of terror with one of the most famous finals ever, a 7-3 demolition of Eintracht Frankfurt in 1960. In the 60-plus years since, no team has ever come close to this. The next best consecutive streaks are just 3 in a row, achieved by Ajax and Bayern Munich in the 70s. Even in the modern Champions League era, the best anyone has done is Real Madrid's own three-peat from 2016 to 2018. That feat was seen as a once-in-a-generation miracle. But the modern tournament is a grueling marathon of 13 high-intensity matches against the world's elite. The original was a 7-game knockout cup. The financial, physical, and mental toll of the current format, plus the sheer depth of competition, makes winning even 2 in a row a monumental task. Winning 5 is a fantasy. Longest suspension. The name Eric Cantona remains synonymous with both brilliance and profound controversy, largely due to one of the longest suspensions ever issued for an on-field incident in football. On January 25th, 1995, While playing for Manchester United against Crystal Palace, Cantona was sent off. While walking towards the tunnel, a spectator, Matthew Simmons, directed abusive language at him from the stands. In a shocking moment of lost control, Cantona famously launched a kung fu kick at the fan before being restrained. The incident resulted in immediate global headlines and a severe disciplinary response. The Football Association handed Cantona a massive 9-month suspension from all football-related activity, alongside a substantial fine. The ban effectively ended his 1994-95 season and stripped United of their star player, though he did perform community service and faced a 2-week prison sentence. Cantona's suspension is still one of the most drastic penalties imposed for player-spectator misconduct in English football history, demonstrating the governing body's zero-tolerance policy towards violence. World Cup trophies. Winning the World Cup once cements your name in history. Winning it twice makes you an all-time great. But one man stands alone, having won it 3 times, Pelé. He won his first as a 17-year-old prodigy in 1958, scoring 2 goals in the final. He was part of the squad that won again in 1962, even though he was injured for most of the tournament then. 12 years after his first, he led one of the greatest national teams ever assembled, the 1970 Brazil side, to a 3rd victory in Mexico. The sheer longevity and dominance this requires is staggering. The modern international game is so competitive and tactically balanced that no nation is guaranteed anything. Furthermore, players today face immense club versus country pressure and fixture congestion. For one player to remain the focal point of a national team, avoiding serious injury and peaking for 3 separate World Cup winning campaigns, spanning 12 years, it's a feat that belongs to a different era. He is the only player on Earth with 3 winners' medals, and he will remain the only one. Champions League titles. While many legends spend their entire careers chasing a single Champions League trophy, Clarence Seedorf made it look like a routine hobby. Known as Il Professore for his tactical genius and composure, Seedorf holds one of the most prestigious records in football history. He is the only player to have won the UEFA Champions League with 3 different clubs. His European odyssey began in 1995 with Ajax, where, as a 19-year-old midfield prodigy, he helped a young Dutch side stun AC Milan in the final. Just 3 years later, he conquered Europe again, this time in the white of Real Madrid, after defeating Juventus in 1998. However, his most iconic spell came at AC Milan, where he lifted the Big Ears trophy twice more, first in 2003 and then again in 2007, cementing his status as a serial winner across 3 of Europe's most historic teams. Winning 4 titles with 3 different clubs across 3 different decades isn't just a feat of skill. It's a testament to Seedorf's incredible longevity and adaptability. While other players have since won more total titles, no one has matched his ability to walk into any locker room in Europe and turn them into champions. Most finals lost. Javier Mascherano holds the record for the most major club and international finals lost by any player. During his celebrated career with the Argentina national team and top European clubs, Mascherano appeared in 11 major finals, but only came away with the winner's medal in a small fraction of those appearances. That means he lost the remaining majority more than any other player in the history of the sport. The bulk of these defeats came with his national team. Mascherano was a fixture in the Argentine squad that lost the final of the 2014 FIFA World Cup to Germany. Crucially, he then anchored the midfield for the team that lost 3 consecutive Copa America finals, first in 2004 and 2007 against Brazil, and then the back-to-back defeats in 2015 and 2016, both against Chile. At the club level, the losing trend continued, even while playing for dominant teams. He was on the losing side in the 2007 Champions League final with Liverpool. Despite his record for final losses, Mascherano is recognised as a leader and a highly decorated player, having won the Champions League and multiple league titles with Barcelona. Goals in one international match. On April 11th, 2001, Australian striker Archie Thompson set a record that's almost too absurd to believe, scoring 13 goals in a single international match. The game was a World Cup qualifier against American Samoa, which ended 31-0, the biggest win in international football history. His teammate, David Zdrilic, scored 8 goals in the same game, which would be an unbelievable record on any other day. But he was relegated to a footnote. The context is almost as wild as the record. American Samoa's entire senior squad was ruled ineligible due to passport issues, so they had to field a team of youth players, some of whom had reportedly never played a full 90-minute match. While the circumstances were a farce, the number is in the record books. Critically, this result was a catalyst for change. It led to the introduction of a preliminary qualifying round in the Oceania Football Confederation to prevent such embarrassing mismatches. Because of that structural change, a game this lopsided will never happen in a World Cup qualifier again, protecting Thompson's bizarre record forever. Most losses player, English defender Gareth Barry, holds one of the more unwanted records in Premier League history, the most defeats by a single player. Across an incredible career spanning over 2 decades, Barry made 653 appearances in England's top flight, representing clubs such as Aston Villa, Manchester City, Everton, and West Bromwich Albion. With an unparalleled number of games comes an unavoidable mix of highs and lows, and for Barry, that tally includes 266 defeats, the most by any player in Premier League history. While that number might sound harsh, it is less a critique of his ability and more a testament to his sheer durability and reliability. Barry was a regular starter from his teenage years deep into his 30s, often anchoring the midfield for teams that were not competing at the very top. Managers could always rely on his calmness on the ball and tactical intelligence. The defeats were simply a statistical consequence of being one of the most played footballers in Premier League history. Yet the defeats tell only half the story. Despite these losses, Barry also secured over 100 career wins with Aston Villa, claimed the FA Cup with Manchester City in 2011, and earned 53 caps for England. His record for most losses is football's perfect reminder of balance. The more you step onto the pitch, the more you encounter every side of the game, the victories, the heartbreaks, and the inevitable defeats that accompany a truly magnificent and enduring career. Goalkeeper clean sheet streak. During the 2008 to 2009 season, Manchester United's goalkeeper Edwin van der Sar set the Premier League record for the longest time without conceding a goal, 1,311 minutes. This is a record of pure, sustained perfection. The streak started on November 8th and wasn't broken until March 4th. He went the entire months of December, January, and February without picking the ball out of his net in a league game. That's 14 full matches of flawless concentration. This wasn't just him. It was a fortress built in front of him by Vidic and Ferdinand. But to put it in perspective, the previous English top-flight record was Peter Cech's 1,025 minutes. Van der Sar beat that by nearly 300 minutes, which is more than 3 full matches. In today's Premier League, where every team has world-class attackers and goals can come from anywhere, a 30-yard wonder strike, an unlucky deflection, or a VAR-awarded penalty, going 1,311 minutes without conceding is a statistical impossibility. Oldest World Cup player. While most footballers are comfortably retired and playing golf by their mid-40s, Egyptian goalkeeper Essam El Hadari was busy making history. On June 25th, 2018, during Egypt's final group match against Saudi Arabia, El Hadari became the oldest player to ever appear in a FIFA World Cup at the staggering age of 45 years and 161 days. Nicknamed the High Dam for his legendary resilience, El Hadari's appearance wasn't just a ceremonial tribute. Despite being nearly old enough to be the father of some teammates, he proved his class by saving a penalty in the first half, leaping to his right to tip a powerful strike onto the crossbar. This made him the oldest goalkeeper to ever save a penalty in the tournament's history. El Hadari's journey was a masterclass in longevity. He earned 159 caps for Egypt and won 4 Africa Cup of Nations titles over a career spanning nearly 3 decades. He shattered the previous record held by Colombia's Farid Mondragon by over 2 years. His debut on the world stage came 22 years after his first international appearance, proving that for the High Dam, Age was truly nothing more than a number on a jersey. Most missed shots. When discussing missed chances, few players can rival the sheer volume of Cristiano Ronaldo. Over his remarkable and record-setting career, the simple statistic stands out. Ronaldo has officially recorded more missed shots than anyone in tracked professional football history. By 2024, his tally of attempts that did not find the net surpassed 3,000, a number that reflects his aggressive attacking mandate for clubs like Manchester United, Real Madrid, Juventus, and Al Nassr. However, like all great scorers, every miss came with persistence. For this high volume of shooting is precisely what enabled him to become football's all-time leading scorer, with over 870 official career goals. His willingness to unleash a shot from almost anywhere on the pitch, whether a thunderous long-range drive or a tight-angled volley, has defined his game, demanding he carry the constant responsibility of scoring against the world's best. While that many misses might seem like inefficiency, they truly tell the story of unparalleled ambition and longevity. Ronaldo's confidence to keep shooting, regardless of the previous outcome, is what separates elite goal scorers from spectators. Every chance missed was simply a recalibration for the next opportunity to strike, and few have converted more attempts into glory. Scoring in 21 consecutive league seasons. Ryan Giggs holds a record of endurance that will never be matched, scoring a league goal in 21 consecutive top-flight seasons. This streak started in the 1991 to 92 season, the old First Division, and ran every single season until 2012 to 2013. This is not just about scoring, it's about unparalleled adaptation. Giggs began as a flying teenage winger, all pace and flair. As he aged, he transitioned into a visionary, deep-lying central midfielder, pulling the strings. This ability to completely reinvent himself is why he lasted so long under one manager, Sir Alex Ferguson. In the modern game, loyalty is rare, and the one-club man is a dying breed. Even if a player stayed, the physical demands and squad rotation at top clubs are too intense. A player's peak is shorter. Nobody will have the combination of talent, injury avoidance, adaptability, and one-club loyalty to play and score in 21 straight seasons. Worst player record without a win. Few professional footballers have endured a tougher start to their top-flight career than Ben Brereton Diaz. The Chilean forward entered the Premier League with high hopes. Yet by the time the 2024-25 season was underway, he had played 20 league games without a single victory. That run broke the previous mark for most appearances in the division without tasting a win. During his 14 appearances on loan at Sheffield United, Brereton Diaz scored 6 goals, but still failed to be on the winning side. He suffered 10 losses and 4 draws in that spell. He then transferred to Southampton FC, only to continue the unwanted streak as the club struggled in the league. While a player's performance does not solely determine team results, the statistics highlight a rare degree of misfortune. A talented forward with goal contributions, who nonetheless found himself constantly on the losing side. His record stands as one of the most unusual and unenviable in Premier League history. 3 consecutive major trophy. The Spanish national team achieved a dynasty of total dominance by winning 3 consecutive major international trophies: Euro 2008, the 2010 World Cup, and Euro 2012. This was the tiki-taka era, where the Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets midfield core choked opponents into submission with possession. It wasn't just that they won, it was how they won. They won Euro 2008, beating Germany. They ground out 4 straight 1-0 wins in the 2010 World Cup knockouts. Then, when critics called them boring, they produced their best performance, demolishing Italy 4-0 in the Euro 2012 final. This 4-year period of suffocating dominance is unmatched. The international game is too deep now. The talent is too spread out. France, England, Portugal, Brazil, Argentina. There are 8 to 10 teams that can win any given tournament. For one nation to have a golden generation so perfect that it stays at its peak for 4 straight years is a feat we'll likely never see again. Most missed penalties. When it comes to the ultimate test of nerve from 12 yards, few names stand out more than Lionel Messi. Over the course of his extraordinary career, Messi has shouldered the immense responsibility of taking well over 150 penalties for club and country, and in doing so, has recorded over 30 misses, placing him among the elite players with the highest total missed penalties in football history. From crucial Champions League semi-finals to World Cup matches, the record proves that even the greatest can falter from 12 yards out. Messi's penalty technique has long been a talking point. His calm, placement-based approach often contrasts sharply with the power-driven techniques of his peers. While this style is often masterful, goalkeepers have learned his habits, successfully anticipating his preference more than once. The devastating nature of these misses was perfectly encapsulated during the 2016 Copa America final against Chile, when his crucial shot flew agonisingly over the bar. That moment of heartache left him visibly devastated and briefly led him to retire from international football. Yet, his penalty record reflects not weakness, but courage. Despite those misses, Messi's conversion rate still sits at a respectable figure, and he has successfully scored well over 120 penalties in total, an incredible number by any standard. His willingness to consistently step up and take responsibility in the game's most pressurised moments is the defining characteristic of this record. In football, penalties reveal more about nerve and leadership than technique, and while Messi may hold an unwanted record for the quantity of misses, he also remains one of the most trusted and legendary players ever to face that lonely walk to the spot. Career trophies. Lionel Messi holds the record for the most trophies won by a footballer, with 44. This number represents a career of nothing but winning. At every possible level, his cabinet is a testament to total dominance. With Barcelona, he won 10 La Liga titles, 7 Copa del Rey trophies, and 4 Champions Leagues. He then moved to PSG and picked up 3 more trophies. For Argentina, he finally completed the set, winning the Copa America, the Finalissima, and the big one, the 2022 FIFA World Cup. His move to Inter Miami, where he instantly won them their first ever trophy, the Leagues Cup, just cemented his status as a serial winner. His closest rival, Dani Alves, sits at 43. With Messi still playing and winning, this number is only going to grow. For one player to win this much, they have to be a generational talent and play for multiple historic dynasty-level teams. It's a standard of success that is almost impossible to imagine. Soccer career. Player. When it comes to brief professional careers, few stories are as unusual as that of Oli Dia, often cited as the player with the shortest top-flight career in football history. In November 1996, Dia famously appeared for Southampton in the English Premier League for just 53 chaotic minutes on the pitch. The bizarre story behind this one appearance has become football legend. Dia managed to convince then Southampton manager Graeme Souness that he was the cousin of the reigning FIFA World Player of the Year, George Weah, and that he had played for major European club Paris Saint-Germain. This claim was bolstered by a fraudulent phone call from George Weah. Desperate due to an injury crisis, Souness signed Dia on a short-term contract based purely on this audacious lie. Dia was placed on the bench for a league match against Leeds United. His moment arrived after only 32 minutes, when club legend Matt Letizia picked up an injury, forcing Dia onto the field as a substitute. It quickly became painfully clear that Dia was nowhere near Premier League standard. His performance was famously described by Letizia as watching Bambi on ice, characterised by heavy first touches, confused positioning, and wildly inaccurate passing. After less than an hour, Souness cut his losses and substituted Dia back off in the 85th minute, an incredible humiliation for the player and an admission of a colossal error by the manager. Dia was released from the club just 14 days into his contract and never played professional football at that level again. Ali Dia's brief 53-minute appearance remains one of the Premier League's most extraordinary tales of deception, earning him the infamous title of the player with the shortest, most farcical top-flight soccer career ever recorded. Champions League trophies as manager. Carlo Ancelotti is the undisputed king of Europe, holding the record for the most Champions League trophies won by a manager, with 5. He's the only manager to have ever reached this number. He won it twice with AC Milan, leading them through their own era of dominance. Then he moved to Real Madrid and did it 3 more times, cementing his legacy. His closest rivals are Pep Guardiola, Zinedine Zidane, and Bob Paisley, who are all stuck on 3. Ancelotti is 2 full trophies clear of the next best managers in history. What's more, he's the only manager to have taken teams to 6 finals. His 2022 run with Madrid was a masterclass in comebacks and voodoo, while his 2024 win was a masterclass in control. Winning this tournament once is a life's achievement. Winning 5 requires managing 2 different super clubs in 2 different eras. This level of sustained success is unimaginable. Most personal fouls. No player in modern football is more synonymous with fierce defending and constant boundary pushing than Sergio Ramos. His illustrious career is inextricably linked with a disciplinary record that places him at the very top of football's all-time charts for infractions. The Spanish defender holds the overall record for the most yellow cards received in the history of top-flight European football, accumulating nearly 300 bookings across all major competitions. His willingness to commit tactical fouls and his intense, uncompromising style also make him a leader in total fouls committed, while his red card total of approximately 30 is second only to Colombian midfielder Gerardo Bedoya's staggering 46. Ramos is the clear leader in major European leagues. This record is a direct result of his fiery presence on the pitch for Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain, where he was a master of the dark arts of defending. Yet, these numbers only tell half the story. Ramos's aggression was the engine of his success. It was the byproduct of a player who became a legendary captain, winning 4 Champions League titles with Real Madrid and conquering the World Cup and European Championships with Spain. His record reflects not just disciplinary lapses, but a relentless, win-at-all-costs intensity that cemented his status as one of football's ultimate warriors. Longest goal scored. The record for the longest goal in football history belongs to goalkeeper Asmir Begovic, who scored from 91.9 metres. This is a record of pure, unadulterated fluke. It happened in November 2013, in a match for Stoke City against Southampton. Just 13 seconds into the game, Begovic hit a routine clearance from his own penalty box, but it was a ridiculously windy day at the Britannia Stadium. The wind caught the ball. It flew down the pitch, took one massive bounce over the head of the Southampton keeper, Artur Boruc, and nestled directly into the net. Begovic didn't even celebrate. He looked embarrassed. This is unbreakable because it's not a record of skill. It's a record of atmospheric conditions. You can't try to do this. You need a goalkeeper to hit a clearance from his own box, have a 50+ miles per hour gust of wind carry it, and have the opposing keeper misjudge a 1 in a million bounce. It's an accident of nature. Most games missed. One of the most injury-plagued careers in modern football belongs to Owen Hargreaves, whose time at the top was constantly interrupted by physical setbacks. Over the course of his career with Bayern Munich, Manchester United, and the English national team, Hargreaves missed well over 100 competitive matches due to recurring injuries, particularly chronic knee problems. At his peak, he was regarded as one of the most versatile midfielders in the world, capable of dominating both defensive and attacking phases, yet his availability was severely limited. Hargreaves's injuries began in Germany, but intensified after his transfer to Manchester United in 2007. Muscle tears, cartilage damage, and persistent knee issues sidelined him for months at a time, often forcing him to miss entire seasons. During the 2011-12 Premier League campaign, he played only a handful of matches, leaving United to adjust without one of their most talented midfielders. Despite these setbacks, Hargreaves' impact when fit was undeniable. He played key roles in Premier League titles, Champions League campaigns, and international tournaments like the 2006 World Cup. His story serves as both a cautionary tale about the fragility of a footballer's body and a testament to resilience, returning repeatedly to train and play at elite levels. Even though injuries prevented him from reaching his full potential, Hargreaves is remembered as a player whose brilliance shone whenever he stepped on the pitch. 6-second goal by a substitute. The record for the fastest goal by a substitute in Premier League history belongs to Nicolas Anelka, who scored in just 6 seconds. In a 2007 North London derby, Arsenal had a corner against Tottenham. Arsene Wenger decided to sub on the 19-year-old Anelka. As he ran onto the pitch, the corner was being taken. Cesc Fabregas whipped the ball in, and Anelka, with his very first touch of the game, rose up and powered a header into the net. He had been on the field for 6 seconds. This record is unbreakable because it's a perfect storm of coincidences. A substitute must be brought on for a set piece. That set piece must be taken instantly. The delivery must be perfect. And the substitute must score with their first touch. Most subs take 30 seconds just to get into the flow of the game. 6 seconds is a statistical impossibility, a moment of flawless timing that can't be replicated. Worst season opener, player. On August 12th, 2017, Alexandre Pato experienced one of the most disastrous season openers in modern football. Playing for Tianjin Quanjian in the Chinese Super League, Pato had a game to forget. He took 10 shots on goal and failed to score or create any meaningful chances. Despite playing the full 90 minutes, his touches in the attacking third were miscontrolled, his passes misfired, and his decision-making was painfully off. The match ended in a 3-0 defeat for Tianjin, and Pato's ineffective performance drew heavy criticism from fans and media alike. Analysts noted that he became the first notable forward in the Chinese Super League era to have 0 shots on target in a full season opener while taking more than 8 attempts, a strikingly poor efficiency record for a player of his reputation. While Pato had previously dazzled at AC Milan and with the Brazilian national team, this opener was a reminder of how form and fitness can falter unexpectedly. His disastrous start became a talking point for pundits and supporters, illustrating that even highly skilled players can experience remarkably rough beginnings to a season. 58.13 metre headed goal. This is one of the most bizarre records in football. In 2011, Norwegian midfielder Jon Samuelsson scored the longest range headed goal ever recorded at 58.13 metres. In a match for ODD Grenland, the opposing team's goalkeeper had come up for a last-minute corner. The corner was cleared and the ball was lumped forward. As the ball bounced in midfield, Samuelsson and an opponent challenged for it. Samuelsson, from inside his own half, jumped and headed the ball. It looped perfectly, bounced once, and rolled into the empty net. This record is unbreakable because it's a complete accident. No player tries to score a 58-metre header. It requires a specific, chaotic set of circumstances. An empty net, a hopeful punt, and a perfectly timed header from a ridiculous distance that just happens to have the exact right trajectory. It's a 1 in a billion fluke, and it's now in the history books forever. The Battle of Nuremberg. While most World Cup matches are remembered for beautiful goals, the 2006 round of 16 clash between Portugal and the Netherlands is famous for pure carnage. Nicknamed the Battle of Nuremberg, it holds the record for the most red cards in a single FIFA World Cup match, with referee Valentin Ivanov brandishing 4 red cards and 16 yellow cards. The chaos began just 2 minutes in when Mark van Bommel was booked, setting a violent tone. By the time the final whistle blew, the pitch looked more like a crime scene than a soccer field. Portugal's Costinha and Deco, along with the Netherlands' Khalid Boularus and Giovanni van Bronckhorst, were all sent off. The most iconic image of the night wasn't the winning goal by Maniche, but rather Deco and van Bronckhorst, sitting together on the sidelines, chatting like old friends after both being expelled from the war, although the 2022 Battle of Lusail eventually broke the record for most yellow cards, 18. Nuremberg remains the undisputed king of ejections. FIFA president Sepp Blatter later joked that the referee should have given himself a yellow card for his performance, but for fans, it remains the ultimate example of a game completely spiralling out of control. 1,197 appearances for a single club. This record is a combination of 2. Rogério Ceni's 1,197 appearances for São Paulo is the most games played for a single club, and he's the goalkeeper who scored 131 goals, but let's focus on the loyalty. 1,197 games. This record shatters the numbers of other one-club legends like Ryan Giggs, Paolo Maldini, or Francesco Totti. Ceni joined Sao Paulo in 1990 and played his last game in 2015, a 25-year career spent with one badge on his chest. In the modern era of football, this is a fantasy. The transfer market, player power, agent fees, and the project-based nature of clubs mean a 25-year career at one team will never happen again. A player of Ceni's quality would be poached by a European giant for hundreds of millions. This record isn't just about durability, it's about a level of loyalty between a player and a club that no longer exists in the sports economy. Youngest Champions League goalscorer. On December 10th, 2019, the San Siro Stadium in Milan witnessed the arrival of a new European phenomenon. Ansu Fati, Barcelona's crown jewel, etched his name into the history books as the youngest goalscorer in UEFA Champions League history, finding the net at just 17 years and 40 days old. The context made the moment even more legendary. Barcelona had already qualified for the knockout stages and were resting stars like Lionel Messi. Fati started on the bench, watching as the game remained deadlocked at 1-1. In the 85th minute, manager Ernesto Valverde sent the teenager on for a cameo. Just 1 minute and 38 seconds later, Fati played a quick 1-2 with Luis Suarez and unleashed a laser-precise strike from the edge of the area that went in off the post. The goal didn't just win the match, 2-1. It knocked Inter Milan out of the competition entirely. Fati surpassed the previous record held by Peter Ofori-Quay, who was 17 years and 194 days old in 1997, by over 5 months. While injuries have slowed his meteoric rise since that night, his record remains the gold standard for teenage prodigies in Europe's most prestigious club competition. A clean sheet streak. In the 2015-16 season, Gianluigi Buffon set the Serie A record for the longest streak without conceding a goal, at 974 consecutive minutes. This is the goalkeeping equivalent of a perfect game. For 10 straight matches, nobody could score past the Juventus legend. The streak started in January and ran all the way to March. He finally conceded in the 48th minute of the Turin derby. He surpassed the previous record of 929 minutes, which had stood since 1994. What's more, he did this at 38 years old, proving his legendary status. This record is a testament to both his individual genius and the collective organisation of the legendary trio Bonucci, Barzali, and Chiellini defence in front of him. In modern, attack-focused football, where even Serie A games are high-scoring, and with VAR awarding penalties for minor handballs, a keeper going over 10 full games of perfection is unthinkable. Most goals in a single Champions League season. In the 2013/14 season, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't just play in the Champions League, he dominated it. Playing for Real Madrid, he set an almost untouchable record by scoring 17 goals in a single campaign, a feat that propelled the Spanish Giants to their legendary 10th title, La Decima. Ronaldo was relentless from day one, opening with a clinical hat-trick against Galatasaray. He scored 9 goals in the group stage alone, establishing his dominance early. As the pressure rose in the knockout rounds, he didn't blink, netting twice in a historic semi-final demolition of Bayern Munich. The icing on the cake came in the final against Atletico Madrid. In the 120th minute, Ronaldo hammered home a penalty to seal a 4-1 victory and finalise his historic tally. He shattered the previous record of 14 goals held by Jose Altafini and Lionel Messi by scoring in 11 different matches throughout the tournament, averaging a goal every 58 minutes. It remains the most prolific individual season in the history of European football. Even as modern superstars have chased the mark, Ronaldo's 17 remains the gold standard of goal-scoring excellence. Red cards in one match. The record for the most red cards issued in a single match is 36. This is pure, unadulterated chaos. It happened in 2011 in the Argentinian 5th tier in a match between Claypole and Victoriano Arenas. The game was already brutal, but a mass brawl erupted in the second half. The referee, Damian Rubino, sent off a player. The brawl then escalated, with players, managers, and even fans joining in the fight on the pitch, Rubino couldn't control the situation. So, in his official match report, he sent off all 22 players, plus every single substitute and coach. He could identify 36 red cards in total. The game was obviously abandoned. This is unbreakable because it's not really a football record, it's a clerical one. It's a referee losing complete control and deciding to punish everyone involved. The 6-second myth. You hear fans counting it down, but referees rarely blow the whistle for it. Law 12 states that a goalkeeper is not permitted to keep control of the ball in their hands for more than 6 seconds. If they exceed this, the punishment is incredibly severe. An indirect free kick inside the penalty box. While keepers time waste constantly, this rule was famously enforced in the Europa League in 2015. Liverpool goalkeeper Simon Mignolet held onto the ball for a staggering 22 seconds against Bordeaux. The referee finally lost patience and blew the whistle. It resulted in a chaotic scene where Bordeaux set up an indirect free kick inside a crowded box and promptly scored, costing Liverpool the clean sheet. Mignolet looked genuinely shocked, as if he forgot the rule existed. The crowd went from restless whistling to cheering the referee's pedantry. It remains one of the few times a top-tier referee actually penalised a keeper for time wasting with a free kick rather than a yellow card. It is technically still the rule, though referees almost universally ignore the 6-second limit, preferring to just warn the keeper unless it becomes egregious. 92 career hat tricks. While his career goal total is debated, Pelé's 92 official hat tricks, as recognised by Guinness World Records, is a number that boggles the mind. A single professional hat trick is the dream of a lifetime for most players. Pelé averaged more than 6 per year for his entire prime. This wasn't just scoring, it was a relentless, sustained dominance over every defender he faced. For comparison, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, the two greatest goal scorers of the modern era, have 66 and 61 hat tricks, respectively. As incredible as their numbers are, they are still 30-plus hat tricks behind Pelé. This record is unbreakable because the game is now too fast, too tactical, and too evenly matched defences don't collapse in the same way, and the sheer physical toll prevents the kind of repeated goal feasts Pelé managed at Santos. This 92 treble haul represents a level of consistent, repeated dominance that is now impossible. Fastest to score 5 goals. Robert Lewandowski scored 5 goals in a staggering 8 minutes and 59 seconds. This monumental feat set records for the fastest hat trick, 4 goals, and 5 goals in the Bundesliga. The legendary performance took place on September 22, 2015, during a match between Bayern Munich and Wolfsburg. Bayern was surprisingly down 1-0 at halftime, and Lewandowski was brought on as a substitute. What followed was a spectacle that will be talked about for generations. He started his scoring barrage in the 51st minute and concluded it just before the 60th, leaving the stadium and the football world in a state of collective awe. His final goal was a magnificent bicycle kick that cemented the moment in history. This record feels virtually impossible to beat. Modern football is built on tactical discipline and defensive organisation, making it incredibly difficult for one player to find that much space and opportunity in such a short window. With constant squad rotation and a focus on collective defence, a single player rarely gets the chance to dominate a game to this extent. For a player to not only score 5 goals in a game, but to do so with such ruthless efficiency in under 9 minutes, it required a perfect storm of individual genius and an opponent's momentary collapse. 35 assists in a single season. While league-only records are often cited, Juan Mata's 2012 to 2013 season for Chelsea was a creative masterpiece. 35 assists in all competitions. This is a number that even assist kings like Messi, De Bruyne and Ozil have not matched in a single campaign. That season, Mata was the creative hub of a team that played a marathon 69 games, winning the Europa League. He was tireless, providing 17 assists in the Premier League, 12 in European competitions, and 6 in domestic cups. This record is unbreakable due to modern load management. No top-tier playmaker will ever be run into the ground by playing 69 games in one season again. With the specialisation of squads and heavy rotation, the sheer volume of minutes required to rack up 35 assists is no longer possible for one player. This record isn't just about creative genius. It's about a level of physical endurance that managers no longer demand. Interference from foreign objects. We all love it when a stray dog runs onto the pitch, but the rules regarding foreign objects are surprisingly specific. A referee isn't actually required to stop the game just because a second ball or balloon rolls onto the grass. They only blow the whistle if it actively interferes with play. But if that object strikes the match ball, the game is dead immediately. The most infamous violation of this happened in 2009 between Sunderland and Liverpool. A Liverpool fan threw a large red beach ball onto the pitch, which drifted right into the penalty box. Sunderland's Darren Bent took a shot which slammed into the inflatable, completely bamboozled goalkeeper Pepe Reina and deflected into the net. Unbelievably, the referee let the goal stand. This was a massive error. By law, the instant the leather ball hit the plastic ball, play should have stopped for a dropped ball. It remains the only time a Premier League team has lost a match because of a pool toy. 5 World Cup appearances. This record of longevity is so difficult that 5 players have to share it. Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Lothar Matthäus, Antonio Carvajal, and Rafael Marquez. They all played in 5 separate World Cup tournaments. This means an international career spanning over 16 years. First, a player must be a prodigy, good enough to make the squad as a teenager, or in their very early 20s. Then they must avoid all career-ending injuries. Third, they must remain an undisputed elite starter for their national team for nearly 2 decades, fending off all new young talent. And finally, their nation must be good enough to qualify for all 5 tournaments. Gianluigi Buffon was in 5 squads, but only played in 4. With the physical demands of the modern game and the unlikelihood of all those factors aligning, this club of 5 is almost certainly at maximum capacity. It's the ultimate testament to sustained generational greatness. Most Ballon d'Or trophies won. Lionel Messi holds the record for the most prestigious individual award in football, with an astounding 8 Ballon d'Ors. This cements his status as one of the greatest players in the history of the sport. Messi's dominance began in 2009 and extended through an era of unprecedented success with Barcelona and Argentina. His incredible talent, consistent goal scoring, and playmaking ability allowed him to win the award multiple times, often in head-to-head competition with another all-time great, Cristiano Ronaldo. The record is so far ahead of the competition that it is difficult to imagine it ever being surpassed. The sheer difficulty of breaking this record lies in the level of sustained excellence required. A player would need to dominate world football every other year for over a decade. In today's highly competitive football landscape, with multiple players from different clubs and leagues competing at a high level, it's rare for one player to be so dominant for such a long period. The physical demands of the modern game, combined with intense media scrutiny and pressure, make it nearly impossible for a player to maintain the kind of consistent performance that Messi displayed for almost 2 decades. This record is a monument to an era of singular dominance that is unlikely to be repeated. The back pass rule. This is the rule that saved football from itself. Introduced in 1992, it forbids a goalkeeper from handling the ball if a teammate deliberately kicks it to them. If they do, it's an indirect free kick inside the box. However, passes off the knee, chest or head are still legally allowed to be handled. Before 1992, the World Cup in Italy was a snooze fest. Teams would go 1-0 up and then spend the last 20 minutes passing the ball from defender to keeper and back again, wasting endless time. The rule change caused chaos in the Premier League's first season. Defenders panicked, and goalkeepers who couldn't kick suddenly had to learn. Fans cheered as the pace of the game skyrocketed. Defenders, however, were terrified. You'd see centre-backs diving on the floor to head a ball back to the keeper just to bypass the rule, looking absolutely ridiculous in the process. Still the most important rule change in modern history. Most goals scored by a goalkeeper. Brazilian goalkeeper Rogério Ceni holds a record that defies the logic of his position, an astonishing 129 goals in his career. Ceni's goal-scoring prowess came almost entirely from set pieces, as he was the designated penalty and free kick taker for his club, São Paulo. Over his 25-year career with the club, he became a dead ball specialist, consistently finding the back of the net with his powerful and accurate shots. His tally of 129 goals is higher than many professional strikers have managed in their careers, a fact that highlights the sheer uniqueness of his record. This record is considered a monument to a bygone era of football specialisation. Modern football heavily favours goalkeepers who are masters of shot stopping and ball distribution, often acting as a sweeper keeper to support the defence. Coaches today would rarely, if ever, risk their goalkeeper leaving the net to take a free kick, as it leaves the goal completely exposed to a counter-attack. To reach a similar number, a keeper would need to play for over 2 decades, be the primary set-piece taker, and possess a level of skill that is almost unheard of in that position, making Cini's record incredibly difficult to touch. The self-destruct safety valve. We've all seen goalkeepers mess up a back pass, but there is a specific safety net in Law 15 regarding throw-ins. You cannot score a goal directly from a throw-in. This includes an own goal. If you throw the ball back to your goalkeeper and it skips over their foot and goes directly into the net without anyone touching it, a goal is not awarded. Instead, a corner kick is given to the opposition. In the bizarre Second City derby of 2002 between Aston Villa and Birmingham City, Villa defender Olof Mellberg threw the ball back to his keeper. Enkelman took his eye off the ball and it rolled under his foot and into the net. The referee awarded the goal because he judged that the ball brushed Enkelman's studs. Enkelman had his head in his hands, arguably the most embarrassed man in Birmingham. Villa fans were irate, claiming he never touched it. If he had cleanly missed the ball, it would have just been a corner kick, and his humiliation would have been saved. If you are a keeper and a throw-in is coming at your open net, and you know you can't control it, your best move is actually to not touch it at all. Most goals scored in a single calendar year. Lionel Messi's record of 91 goals in 2012 is a statistical marvel that shattered Gerd Müller's 40-year record of 85 goals. This achievement is a testament to Messi's incredible talent and goal-scoring consistency. He scored these goals for both his club, Barcelona, and his national team, Argentina, in a record-breaking run that included 79 goals for his club and 12 for his country. This feat is simply unheard of in modern football, where the scoring burden is often shared across the team. This record is considered incredibly difficult to break, due to the sheer volume and consistency of goals required. In today's tactical and physically demanding game, it is virtually impossible for a single player to score at that rate for an entire year. The schedule is more congested, teams are more defensively sound, and managers use squad rotation to manage player workload. To score 91 goals in a calendar year, a player would need to score at a rate of almost 1.7 goals per game for a full 12 months, without suffering any significant injuries or dips in form. Messi's 2012 campaign stands as a one-off performance that perfectly combined a player at the absolute peak of his powers, with a team and tactical system that was designed to get the best out of him. The pants privilege. Have you ever noticed that goalkeepers are the only players allowed to wear trousers? While outfield players are strictly regulated to shorts, Law 4 makes a specific exception for keepers to wear tracksuit bottoms. This pants privilege is designed to protect their legs from friction burns when diving on hard surfaces. The patron saint of this rule is Hungarian legend Gabor Kirali. He famously played in the Euros, wearing baggy grey cotton jogging bottoms that looked like he bought them at a supermarket for $10. Opponents mocked him, thinking he looked unprofessional. But Kirali didn't care. He valued comfort over fashion. He became a cult hero, known as the Pajama Man. While modern keepers have mostly switched to tight compression gear, Kirali proved that you can look like you're ready for a nap and still keep a clean sheet against the best in the world. Most goals scored in a single World Cup. Just Fontaine of France scored an incredible 13 goals in just 6 games at the 1958 World Cup. This record stands as a towering achievement in the history of the tournament. At the time, the World Cup was a smaller tournament, but the level of competition was still incredibly high. Fontaine's performance was a masterclass in goal scoring, as he found the net in every single game of the tournament. His record included a stunning 4 goals in a third-place playoff against West Germany. This record is widely considered impossible to break today. The modern World Cup is a much more defensively minded tournament, with teams often prioritising tactical discipline and team shape over all-out attack. A modern World Cup winner typically plays 7 games, so a player would need to score almost 2 goals per game to even get close to Fontaine's record. The scoring burden is also spread out across the team, and a single player dominating a tournament to this extent is a rarity. The closest any player has come in recent memory is Ronaldo Nazario in 2002 with 8 goals, which is still a long way from Fontaine's total. This record is a product of a different era of football, and it will likely stand forever. The instant kickoff goal. For decades, the ball had to move forward at kickoff, requiring 2 players. In 2016, the law changed to allow the ball to move in any direction. This inadvertently popularised the shoot on-site kickoff. You can legally score a goal from the very first touch of the game. While rare in the top flight due to keeper awareness, shorter leagues see this often. A viral example happened in the Scottish lower tiers, where a player noticed the keeper off his line while high-fiving teammates and lobbed him directly from the centre circle. The ultimate embarrassment for a goalkeeper. Conceding a goal before you've even touched the grass or set your feet is a career lowlight. Legal and encouraged if you have the audacity. Longest unbeaten run by a football team. AC Milan went an incredible 58 league games, unbeaten from 1991 to 1993. A streak that included the entire 1991 to 92 Serie A season. This record is a testament to the tactical genius of coach Fabio Capello and the legendary squad he had at his disposal, which included players like Franco Baresi, Paolo Maldini, Marco van Basten, and Ruud Gullit. The team was known for its immortals backline and its blend of attacking flair and defensive solidity. During this run, they won the Serie A title and reached the Champions League final, establishing themselves as the dominant force in European football. Breaking this record today is a monumental challenge due to the fierce competition and the tactical diversity of modern football. The game is more financially equitable, with many clubs having the resources to build competitive squads. This means that even smaller clubs can pull off an upset against the top teams. The intensity of the modern schedule, with domestic league matches, cup competitions, and European tournaments all crammed into a single season, also makes it difficult to maintain a high level of performance for such a long period. A team would have to navigate through multiple seasons without suffering a single defeat, a feat that is simply unthinkable in the modern game. The throw-in offside hack. Everyone knows the offside rule is the most debated law in football, but there is a massive exception written into Law 11 that acts as a cheat code. There is no offside offence if a player receives the ball directly from a throw-in. This allows attackers to stand miles behind the defensive line, effectively cherry-picking, as long as the thrower has the range to reach them. This was weaponised to perfection by Stoke City in the late 2000s. With Rory Delap's javelin-like long throws, Stoke could bypass the entire midfield. Teams like Arsenal and Manchester United would fall apart because their defenders instinctively stepped up to play an offside trap that legally didn't exist. Delap would launch the ball deep into the box to Ricardo Fuller or Mamadi Sidibe, who were technically offside but legally in the clear. Managers like Arsène Wenger absolutely hated it, calling it anti-football. Defenders would stand looking at the linesman with their arms raised, only to realise the flag stayed down, leading to panic and scrambled goals. 100% legal. It remains a valid tactical loophole, though fewer teams possess a long throw specialist capable of exploiting it today. Most expensive transfer fee. Neymar's transfer from Barcelona to Paris Saint-Germain for €222 million is the most expensive in football history. This incredible transfer, which took place in 2017, shattered the previous record and sent shockwaves through the football world. The transfer was a symbol of the immense financial power of modern football, and it changed the way that clubs value their players. The fee was so high that it is difficult to imagine another player ever costing more. This record is considered incredibly difficult to surpass for a few key reasons. The implementation of financial fair play rules has made it more difficult for clubs to spend that much money on a single player. The global economy is also in a state of flux, and a club would need to be incredibly wealthy to even consider paying that much for a player. The transfer was a one-off performance that combined a perfect storm of events. A club with immense financial power, a player who was at the absolute peak of his powers, and a release clause that was incredibly high. This record is a monument to an era of immense financial power that is unlikely to be repeated. The jewellery ban. Footballers are known for their flashiness, but according to Law 4, the pitch is a strictly bling-free zone. The rule is absolute. All items of jewellery, necklaces, rings, and even rubber bands are forbidden. You technically aren't even allowed to tape over them, despite what you might see in amateur Sunday leagues. If it sparkles, it has to go. Yet, players still try to sneak it past the officials. The most famous recent example was France's Jules Koundé at the 2022 World Cup. He incredibly played 41 minutes against Poland, wearing 2 gold chains before a linesman finally spotted them. The game ground to a halt so a trainer could frantically help him unhook the jewellery. It was a humiliating scene. A world-class defender struggling with a tiny clasp with sweaty hands, while his manager stared daggers at him from the bench. The rule exists for safety to prevent snagging and tearing, but mostly it just saves players from looking unprepared on global television. Most international goals scored. Cristiano Ronaldo stands alone with an astonishing 138 goals for Portugal. Ronaldo has been the talisman for his national team for nearly 2 decades, and his goal-scoring record is a testament to his incredible longevity, fitness, and scoring ability. He has scored in multiple World Cups and European Championships, leading his team to a European Championship title in 2016 and a UEFA Nations League trophy in 2019. His record is so far ahead of the competition, with his closest active rival being Lionel Messi, that it is difficult to imagine anyone ever catching him. This record is considered incredibly difficult to break for a few key reasons. The sheer number of goals is a staggering achievement. For a player to even get close, they would need to score an average of 10 goals a year for over a decade and a half, a level of consistency that is extremely rare in international football. The modern game is more defensively minded, and the number of goals scored in international matches has generally decreased. To score 138 goals, a player would need to be a constant starter for their national team for over 20 years without suffering any major injuries or dips in form. With the rising competition for places in national teams and the increasing use of squad rotation, it's virtually impossible for a player to maintain the kind of consistent presence that Ronaldo has had. Shirt off. Scoring a last-minute winner is the highest high in sports, but standing right there to ruin the party is the referee with a mandatory yellow card. The rules allow absolutely zero discretion here. It doesn't matter if it's a Sunday league game or the Champions League final. If the nipples are out, the card is out. The undisputed king of this violation is Cristiano Ronaldo. He treats a yellow card like a small tax he pays to show the world his abs. A prime example was his stoppage time winner against Ireland in 2021. He scored to break the all-time international goal-scoring record, ripped off his jersey, and hit the flex. The referee immediately booked him, and that card actually suspended him for the next match. Cynics say the rule exists to keep sponsor logos visible on TV, but for Ronaldo, he is the brand. He knew the punishment was coming. Longest unbeaten run. International. The longest unbeaten streak in international football is 35 games, a record that has been achieved by both Brazil and Spain. Brazil's streak ran from 1993 to 1996, and it was a period of incredible dominance that included a World Cup win in 1994. The team, featuring legends like Romario and Bebeto, was an attacking force that few teams could handle. Spain's run, which had lasted from 2007 to 2009, was a period of tiki-taka dominance that saw them win the European Championship in 2008. Both streaks are a testament to a unique period of national team excellence and a consistency that is almost impossible to replicate. Breaking this record today is a monumental challenge due to the fierce competition and the tactical diversity of modern football. International football is more competitive than ever, with many teams capable of causing an upset. The intense schedule of international football, with friendly matches, qualifiers, and major tournaments all crammed into a short period, makes it difficult to maintain peak form and fitness. A team would have to navigate through multiple major tournaments and countless qualification matches, all while dealing with injuries and changes in form to get close to this number. This record is a symbol of a dynasty that is unlikely to be replicated. Off-field offside. If a defender steps off the field of play, accidentally or to claim injury, without the ref's permission, they are deemed to be standing on the goal line or touch line for the purpose of offside. You cannot just step off the pitch to play an attacker offside. The most famous example occurred at Euro 2008 during the Netherlands versus Italy match. In a chaotic scramble, Italian defender Christian Panucci collided with his own goalkeeper, Gianluigi Buffon, and fell deep behind the goal line, completely off the pitch. Moments later, Ruud van Nistelrooy scored. It looked miles offside. Buffon went absolutely ballistic, screaming at the linesman, but the goal stood. Why? Because Panucci, despite lying near the advertising boards, still counted as the last defender active in play. The rule exists specifically to prevent teams from manipulating the game's geometry by simply hopping out of bounds when the heat is on. Hardest goal scored in a football game. The record for the hardest verified goal ever scored belongs to Ronnie Hebberson, whose shot was measured at an astonishing 210.9 kilometres per hour. This rocket of a shot was a free kick taken during a Primeira Liga match for Sporting Lisbon from a distance of 30 metres, and the sheer power of the strike left the goalkeeper with absolutely no chance. The record-breaking shot stands as a unique achievement, a full 20 kilometres per hour faster than the next closest verified goals. This gap has remained untouched for nearly 2 decades, and it continues to be a standard that no one has come close to matching. What makes this record so incredibly difficult to break is the combination of pure power, pinpoint accuracy, and the laws of physics. A shot's speed is a function of a player's technique and raw strength, but also the conditions of the ball and the pitch. While there are players with immense power, Hebberson's shot stands alone as an incredible anomaly. As players focus more on curve and placement rather than pure force in an increasingly tactical game, this record will likely remain the gold standard for sheer power in a football shot, a testament to a truly exceptional moment of athletic force. No offside in your own half. Everyone thinks they understand offside, but there is a magic boundary where the rule completely ceases to exist. The halfway line. The laws state that a player cannot be in an offside position if they are in their own half of the field. This creates a loophole where an attacker can be standing 50 metres clear of the last defender, looking blatantly illegal, yet be perfectly safe. The most famous example is Fernando Torres, sending Chelsea to the Champions League final in 2012 against Barcelona. With Barcelona desperately pushing upfield, Torres stood completely alone, practically a separate postcode away from the defence. When the ball was cleared, your brain instantly screams, offside. But because Torres was camping just inside his own half when the pass was kicked, the flag stayed down. He had a legal, unchallenged 50-metre sprint to the goal. It is a visual that breaks the brain. But for a counter-attacking team, that white centre line isn't just paint. It is an ironclad shield. Most red cards in a career. Gerardo Bedoya, a fiery Colombian defensive midfielder, earned a reputation as a hard-tackling player throughout his career, which saw him play for clubs in Colombia, Argentina, and Mexico. His ill discipline resulted in him being sent off an incredible 46 times in 541 matches, which equates to a red card every 12 games. This record has been rightfully described as the unbeaten peak of ill discipline and will likely remain that way. Surpassing this record is now an immense challenge due to the evolution of football officiating. The implementation of VAR, video assistant referee, has made it far more difficult for players to get away with aggressive or dangerous challenges, as replays can be reviewed to ensure the correct disciplinary action is taken. Referees are also under immense pressure to protect player safety, and they are quick to issue straight red cards for challenges that are deemed to be reckless. The combination of the sheer number of games he played and the less stringent officiating of his era allowed for this record to be set. With modern technology, stricter rules, and the financial consequences of suspensions, this record for career red cards is a testament to a different time in football that is now gone. The quick free kick, wait for the whistle, screams every defender on the planet, but they are dead wrong unless the referee explicitly stops play to show a yellow card or pace out the 10 yards, the attackers hold all the power. If the ball is stationary, they can shoot immediately. The masterclass in this dark art was Thierry Henry against Wigan in 2005. While the Wigan goalkeeper was busy screaming at his defenders and trying to organise a wall, Henry simply looked at the referee and whispered, "Can I take it?" The ref gave a subtle nod. Bang. Goal. The Wigan players went apoplectic, surrounding the official and claiming they weren't ready. But the hard truth is that defenders have no God-given right to set up a wall. The rule is clear. The game doesn't stop just because you are disorganised. It's a ruthless lesson that if you stop to argue or fix your socks, you've probably already conceded. Most red cards in a single match. The incident sounds like something out of a comedy, but in a 5th division match in Argentina between Claypole and Victoriano Arenas, a referee once handed out an unbelievable 36 red cards. The chaos began after 2 players were sent off for fighting, which quickly escalated into a full-scale brawl involving every player on the pitch, including the substitutes. The referee, Damien Rubino, was left with no choice but to show a red card to every single person involved in the melee, which amounted to all 22 players and 14 substitutes and staff members on the sidelines. This bizarre event is essentially impossible to replicate today because of the way modern football is regulated and officiated. Match officials now have VAR and a more structured system for handling large-scale incidents. The financial penalties and automatic suspensions that follow such extreme misconduct are so severe they act as a major deterrent, preventing a complete breakdown of order. This record is not a sporting achievement, but a monument to a wild, bygone era of football where a dispute could spiral out of control with few immediate consequences, making this number a one-off in football history. The burst ball rule. We tend to think of the ball as the one constant in the game, but what happens if the equipment itself fails? If the ball bursts or becomes defective during play, the game stops immediately. It doesn't matter if the ball is sailing into the top corner for a winning goal. If it pops mid-air before crossing the line, the goal does not count. The game restarts with a dropped ball at the spot where the disaster happened. While we have seen hulking defenders like Daniel Van Buiten stomp on balls until they pop, the most famous clips are the comedic ones. A striker winds up for a power shot, only for the ball to explode upon impact and roll sadly to the keeper like a flat pancake. It usually gets a laugh, but imagine the chaos if this happened in the 90th minute of a Champions League final. Most goals scored as a defender. Ronald Koeman, a legendary Dutch defender, holds the record for the most goals scored by a defender, with approximately 253 goals. Koeman was a unique player, a centre-back who was also a prolific goalscorer due to his powerful and accurate long-range shots and his free-kick prowess. He was the main free-kick and penalty taker for his teams, including Barcelona, with whom he scored the winning goal in the 1992 European Cup final. His goal-scoring ability was not an anomaly, but a consistent part of his game, allowing him to be a major offensive threat despite his defensive position. This record is now a massive challenge for any modern player. The tactical role of a modern defender is almost entirely focused on defensive duties, and any attacking contribution is a bonus, not a requirement. Free kicks and penalties are now almost exclusively taken by attacking midfielders or strikers who have honed their craft as specialists. To break Koeman's record, a defender would need to be the primary set-piece taker for their club for a decade or more, all while maintaining a high level of defensive performance. This combination of skill and opportunity is a relic of a different era, making Koeman's record a permanent fixture in the history books. The offside exceptions. Offside is the most debated rule in football, but did you know there are 3 specific cheat codes that disable it entirely? The laws state you cannot be offside directly from a throw-in, a corner kick, or, the one everyone forgets, a goal kick. The goal kick exception is the ultimate weapon for creating chaos. It allows a striker to camp out deep in the opponent's half, miles behind the defenders. If their goalkeeper has a cannon for a leg and launches the ball 80 yards over everyone's head, that striker is legally clean through on goal. This tactic breaks the brains of defenders. They operate on muscle memory and instinctively step up to set the offside trap. But when the ball flies over them and the linesman stays frozen like a statue, absolute panic sets in. It defies the geometry of the game, turning a boring defensive restart into a one-on-one breakaway. It's fully exploitable, yet teams rarely use it. Most professional matches played. The legendary English goalkeeper Peter Shilton played an incredible 1,387 games over 31 seasons. His career spanned from 1966 to 1997, a period during which he played for 11 different clubs and earned 125 caps for the English national team. Shilton was a model of consistency and longevity, a true Iron Man of football. His career began at a time when football was a far more physically demanding sport, and medical technology and sports science were not as advanced as they are today. He managed to stay at the top level for more than 3 decades, a feat that is virtually unthinkable in the modern game. Breaking this record is a mathematical improbability today. The modern game's intense schedule, combined with the focus on load management and squad rotation, means that players rarely play every game, even if they are in peak condition. The physical demands of the game have increased exponentially, and the careers of most players are shorter and more injury-plagued. Even a player like Cristiano Ronaldo, renowned for his incredible fitness and longevity, would need well over 100 more appearances at age 40 to get close. This record is a testament to an unparalleled level of dedication and durability that will likely never be seen again. The goal kickbox rule. If you watch modern football, you will see defenders standing inside their own penalty box, waiting for a short pass from the keeper. 5 years ago, this was illegal. Until the rule change in 2019, the law required the ball to fully exit the 18-yard box before it was considered in play. This created a bizarre safety net for terrible goalkeepers. A classic example involved Joe Hart. He once fluffed a short goal kick, tapping it to a teammate inside the box who wasn't looking. A striker immediately intercepted the ball and scored, but the referee blew the whistle and disallowed the goal. Why? Because technically, the ball hadn't left the area, so the game hadn't officially restarted. Hart was effectively saved by his own incompetence. Now, that loophole is dead. Today, the ball is live the moment it moves. This simple change birthed the modern obsession with playing out from the back, turning the penalty area into a high-stakes minefield where one bad touch leads to disaster. Oldest active football club. Sheffield FC was formed in 1857, 6 years before the FA even existed. The club is officially recognised as the oldest football club in the world. Sheffield FC's history is a testament to the origins of the sport, and its existence is a symbol of a different era of football. The club has played in the lower divisions of English football for its entire history, but its legacy as the oldest club in the world is something that can never be taken away. This record is a definitive, unchangeable fact. It's a historical record that, by definition, cannot be broken, as a club cannot be formed before the one that already exists. This record is a symbol of the origins of the sport, and a monument to a different era of football. It is a record that is a part of football history and will stand forever. The rejected substitution. We assume the manager is the ultimate boss. If they hold up the board with your number on it, you walk off. But what happens if you just don't? There is a bizarre loophole in Law 3 regarding substitutions. A change is only completed when the player leaves the field. If a player refuses to exit, the referee cannot physically force them off. They simply shrug, ignore the manager, and restart the match. The ultimate example of this mutiny occurred in the 2019 Carabao Cup final. Chelsea manager Maurizio Sarri tried to sub goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga before the penalty shootout. Kepa, standing in his goal, furiously wagged his finger and screamed, "No!" Sarri nearly ripped his tracksuit apart in pure rage, but the referee was powerless to intervene. The match continued with Kepa in goal. It was the most public undermining of authority in modern football history. Technically, Kepa was following the laws of the game perfectly, even if he was breaking every unwritten rule of the dressing room. Most World Cups ever won by a single player. Pelé, the legendary Brazilian footballer, lifted the World Cup trophy an incredible 3 times with Brazil. Pelé was a key member of the Brazilian teams that won the tournament in 1958, 1962, and 1970. He was also the youngest player to ever win it, at 17 years old. His dominance on the world stage is a testament to his unparalleled talent and leadership. In the 1958 final, he scored 2 goals to lead his team to victory, and his performances in the other tournaments were equally impressive. Pelé's record is a symbol of an era of Brazilian dominance in international football that has not been seen since. Breaking this record is a mathematical impossibility for a modern player. A footballer would need to win the World Cup 3 times, a feat that is incredibly difficult given the unpredictable nature of the tournament. The World Cup is held only every 4 years, and a player would need to play in at least 3, if not 4, tournaments to have a chance of winning it that many times. The modern game is also far more competitive, and the number of teams capable of winning the tournament has increased exponentially. To win 3 World Cups, a player would need to be at the peak of their powers for over a decade, a feat that is nearly impossible given the physical and mental demands of the modern game. Accidental handball disallowance. Handball is the most confusing rule in football because it is usually so subjective. Was it intentional? Was the arm in a natural position? But there is one area where the rules are brutally simple: scoring goals. If the ball touches an attacker's hand or arm immediately before they score, even if it is totally accidental, unavoidable, or grazed their fingernail while they were looking the other way, the goal is dead. This zero-tolerance policy is the source of endless VAR drama and furious fans chanting, "The game is gone." We have seen spectacular bicycle kicks and last-minute winners wiped off the board simply because the ball brushed a striker's bicep in the build-up, while a defender can get away with an accidental handball if their arm is by their side. An attacker gets 0 margin for error. It feels completely against the spirit of the game, punishing biology rather than cheating, but the rulebook is rigid. If you want the goal to stand, you better hope your arms were invisible. Most free kick goals scored. Juninho Pernambucano, the Brazilian midfielder, scored an incredible 77 direct free kick goals between 1997 and 2013. Juninho was a master of the dead ball, renowned for his unique free kick technique, which involved striking the ball with minimal spin, causing it to swerve unpredictably in the air. This knuckleball technique, which he perfected while playing for Lyon, made him a constant threat from any distance outside the penalty box. His consistency and accuracy from free kicks were unparalleled, and his record is a testament to his unique skill and dedication to his craft. This record is now considered extremely difficult to match. The modern game places a greater emphasis on tactical fouling and defensive walls, which have become far more sophisticated. Goalkeepers are also better coached and positioned to deal with free kicks, and the technology in the balls themselves has made them more predictable. While there are still free kick specialists in the modern game, the sheer volume of goals that Juninho scored is a product of his unique technique and the tactical landscape of his era. To break his record, a player would need to be the primary free kick taker for their club for a decade or more, and they would need to have a success rate that is simply not seen in the modern game. The one boot wonder. Law 4 covers players' equipment. The rule states that if a player loses their footwear or shin guard accidentally, they must replace it as soon as possible. However, and here is the kicker, they are allowed to continue playing until the ball next goes out of play. This means you can legally score a goal while wearing only one boot. The ultimate proof comes from the greatest of all time, Lionel Messi. In a 2017 El Clasico against Real Madrid, Messi lost his right boot after a heavy tackle from Marcelo. Instead of stopping, he continued the run, received a pass from Jordi Alba, and curled a shot into the net to assist Alex Vidal, all while playing with one sock and one boot. The replays went viral instantly. Fans zoomed in on his foot, realising he had just humiliated the European champions while half-dressed. It added to the alien mystique of Messi that he didn't even need shoes to destroy a defence. Still legal. As long as the loss of footwear is accidental and you put it back on at the next stoppage, the goal stands. Most hat-tricks. The record for the most hat-tricks ever scored belongs to Erwin Helmchen, who scored an unbelievable 141 hat-tricks over his career. Helmchen played in Germany in the 1920s and 1930s, and his goal-scoring record is a testament to his incredible talent and the style of football played in that era. He was a prolific goalscorer, and his record is so far ahead of the modern era that it is difficult to even comprehend. His closest modern rival, Lionel Messi, is believed to have scored around 57 hat-tricks, which is still a long way from Helmchen's total. This record is virtually impossible to break today. Football in the early 20th century was a much more open and attacking game, with less tactical discipline and defensive organisation. The level of competition has also increased exponentially, with even smaller clubs having the ability to build a strong defensive unit. To score 141 hat-tricks, a player would need to average around 3 hat-tricks a season for over 4 decades, a feat that is mathematically and physically impossible. Helmchen's record is a monument to an era of football that is long gone. Excessive celebration. This is widely considered the cruelest rule in modern football. It creates a scenario of pure emotional whiplash. Imagine this. You score a stoppage time winner. The stadium erupts. In a moment of pure ecstasy, you rip your shirt off, jump the advertising boards, and hug a random stranger in row Z. The referee books you for excessive celebration. You don't care. You just won the game. But then, the dreaded VAR finger goes to the ear. Review. The goal is disallowed for a foul in the build-up. Here is the kick in the teeth. While the goal is deleted from history, your yellow card remains. It feels like a glitch in the matrix. How can you be punished for celebrating an event that didn't happen? The law states that the booking is for the behaviour, regardless of the match context. You are left standing there with no goal, a yellow card, and your shirt in your hand, looking like a total clown. Highest jump scored in football history. Cristiano Ronaldo holds the record for the highest jump ever scored in football history, leaping 2.93 metres in a 2013 Champions League match against Manchester United. This incredible jump, which was higher than the crossbar, allowed him to score a powerful header. Ronaldo, known for his incredible athleticism and physical prowess, was able to generate an insane amount of power and hang time in the air, allowing him to connect with the ball at a height that is simply unheard of. This record is considered incredibly difficult to match for several reasons. The modern game has seen a rise in the physical and athletic ability of players, but Ronaldo's jump is a one-off performance that combined a perfect storm of circumstances. The cross was perfectly weighted, the defender was poorly positioned, and Ronaldo was able to generate an insane amount of momentum from a standing start. The physical demands of the modern game, with players having to constantly sprint and change direction, mean that it is difficult for a player to generate that kind of explosive power on a consistent basis. This record is a testament to a unique moment of athletic brilliance that is unlikely to be repeated. Goalkeeper kit clash. The laws of the game are obsessed with visibility. The goalkeeper must wear colours that distinguish them from everyone else, teammates, opponents, and officials. But since referees usually wear black, yellow, or green, and keepers love neon colours, clashes happen constantly, and in this battle, the referee always wins. There have been professional matches delayed for 15 minutes simply because the goalkeeper only brought a yellow jersey, and the ref refused to change his yellow jersey. It is pure administrative awkwardness. The solution? You will sometimes see a millionaire Champions League goalkeeper forced to wear a generic, oversized training bib over their expensive kit just to satisfy the rules. They end up looking like a Sunday League player who forgot their gear, all because of a colour clash. It is the ultimate proof that in football, aesthetics will never beat bureaucracy. Most Champions League goals of all time. Cristiano Ronaldo is the Champions League king, with an incredible 140 goals. His dominance in Europe's Premier Club competition is a testament to his longevity, goal-scoring prowess, and ability to perform on the biggest stage. Ronaldo's goal-scoring record is far ahead of the competition, with Lionel Messi, his closest rival, following on 129 goals. Ronaldo has also won the Champions League 5 times, a record that puts him in the pantheon of footballing legends. Breaking this record is a near impossible task. The Champions League is the most competitive club competition in the world, and scoring at that rate for over 15 years is a feat that is simply unheard of. The modern game is more tactical, and the number of goals scored in the competition has generally decreased. The competition for places in the top clubs is also incredibly fierce, and a player would need to be a constant starter for a team that consistently reaches the latter stages of the tournament. The physical demands of the modern game, with players having to play at a high intensity for over a decade, make it nearly impossible for a player to maintain the kind of consistent performance that Ronaldo has had. The sacred corner flag, it is a nuisance, it gets in the way, but you absolutely cannot touch it. We are talking about the corner flag. Law 1 states the post must be at least 1.5 metres high, but crucially, players are forbidden from moving or bending it to take a kick. On tight pitches, this forces players to adopt awkward, crab-like run-ups, essentially dribbling around a plastic pole just to cross the ball. You will often see players asking the linesman if they can hold the flag back. The answer is always a hard no. In one Premier League match, a player actually uprooted the flag to celebrate a goal and was promptly booked. It looks silly, but the flag is considered a sacred boundary marker. The rule is simple. You can curl the ball, but you cannot bend the pole. Longest bicycle kick, goal ever made. Zlatan Ibrahimovic's goal for Sweden against England was a moment of pure genius, measured at an astonishing 29.53 metres long. The incredible goal, scored in a friendly match in 2012, was a testament to Zlatan's unique combination of athleticism, audacity, and skill. After the ball was cleared by the English goalkeeper, Ibrahimovic, with his back to the goal, decided to attempt a bicycle kick from an insane distance. The ball sailed over the heads of the defenders and into the back of the net, a moment of pure magic that will be talked about for generations. This record is considered incredibly difficult to match due to the sheer improbability of the circumstances. A player would need to have the confidence, skill, and athleticism to even attempt a bicycle kick from that distance, let alone execute it perfectly. The modern game is more tactical, and defenders are coached to get back and protect the goal, making it difficult for a player to find that much space. The goal was a moment of pure inspiration, and it's a statistical anomaly that is unlikely to be repeated. The combination of a perfectly weighted ball, a moment of individual genius, and a moment of defensive carelessness makes this record a one-off in football history. The self-back pass trick ban. Players are creative, but you can't cheat the system. Law 12 states you cannot use a deliberate trick to circumvent the back pass rule. This means flicking the ball up from your foot to your own head, chest or knee, just to pass it back to the goalkeeper is illegal. Marco Verratti tried this for PSG against Nantes. He got on his hands and knees to head a rolling ball back to his keeper. The referee immediately stopped play, not because the keeper picked it up, but because the act itself was unsporting behaviour. Verratti was booked, and Nantes got a free kick. Verratti looked bewildered, arguing he used his head, but the referee correctly identified that he manufactured the situation artificially. It was a victory for the spirit of the law over the letter of the law. Strictly illegal. It's an automatic yellow card for unsporting behaviour. Most assists in a career. Lionel Messi is widely considered to have the most assists in the modern era, a record that highlights his role as one of the game's greatest playmakers. Messi's incredible vision on the field and his ability to find a teammate in the most improbable of spaces have allowed him to set up countless goals. His assist record is a testament to his complete footballing genius, proving that he is not only a phenomenal goalscorer, but also a world-class creator. Breaking this record is a monumental challenge. The modern game is more tactical, and a player is far more likely to be marked out of the game by multiple defenders, making it difficult to find the space to create chances. The level of competition has also increased exponentially, with even smaller clubs having the ability to build a strong defensive unit. To break Messi's assist record, a player would need to be at the absolute peak of their powers for over 2 decades, without suffering any significant injuries or dips in form. The modern game also features more squad rotation, which makes it difficult for a player to be a constant starter for that long, further cementing this record as one that is unlikely to be surpassed. The drop ball dead end. A dropped ball is designed to restart play neutrally. Because of this, you cannot score directly from it. The ball must touch at least 2 players before a goal can be awarded. There are rare instances in amateur football where a referee drops the ball, a player smashes a half volley instantly into the top corner, and then wheels away celebrating. The referee has to awkwardly blow the whistle and point for a goal kick. Confusion usually reigns. It feels counterintuitive that the ball is live, but not live enough to score. It's a safety valve to prevent teams from unfairly exploiting a restart meant for sportsmanship. A direct shot from a drop ball is essentially a pass to the goalkeeper. Longest serving manager. Single club. Fred Everest was the manager of West Bromwich Albion for an incredible 45 years. Everest, who was a former player for the club, took over as manager in 1902 and stayed in the role until 1948. His longevity at a single club is a testament to his dedication, his loyalty, and his ability to adapt to the changing landscape of football. He was a constant presence at the club, and his record is a symbol of a different era of football management. This record is a mathematical and professional impossibility in the modern era. The life of a football manager today is far more precarious, with the average tenure at a top club being just a few years. The pressure to win is immense, and a run of bad results can often lead to the sack. A manager would have to be at the very top of their game for over 4 decades, without suffering any major dips in form or getting fired. The competition is also fierce, with multiple managers from different clubs and leagues competing at a high level. Everest's record is a monument to an era of stability and sustained success that is unlikely to be repeated. The penalty rebound ban. Physics dictates that if you smash a ball against a metal pole, it will bounce back. Football dictates that if you touch that rebound, you are in big trouble. This is the double touch rule, and it catches players out constantly. Here is the nightmare scenario. You step up for a penalty, send the keeper the wrong way, but your shot rattles the post. The ball rebounds perfectly to your feet. Instinct takes over. You tap it into the empty net and start celebrating. But the referee blows the whistle immediately. Why? Because a penalty is a restart of play, and you cannot pass to yourself until another player, usually the goalkeeper, touches the ball. You are technically forbidden from playing it again. If the keeper saves it and it bounces back, game on. But if you play a 1-2 with the goalpost, it is an illegal self-pass, and the defence gets an indirect free kick. It turns a lucky second chance into a humiliating turnover. Most goals of all time in the World Cup. Miroslav Klose holds the record for the most goals of all time in the World Cup, with 16 goals. The German striker scored these goals over 4 different tournaments, from 2002 to 2014. Klose was a master of his craft, known for his incredible aerial ability and his clinical finishing in the penalty box. His consistency and longevity on the world stage are a testament to his incredible talent and dedication. The closest active chaser, Lionel Messi, sits on 13 goals, which is still a long way from Klose's total. Breaking this record is a monumental challenge. The World Cup is held only every 4 years, and a player would need to play in at least 4 or 5 tournaments to have a chance of breaking Klose's record. The modern game is also far more competitive, and the number of goals scored in the tournament has generally decreased. A player would need to score an average of 4 goals per tournament for 4 different tournaments, a feat that is incredibly difficult to see given the unpredictability of the competition. This record is a monument to an era of consistent goal scoring on the world stage that is unlikely to be repeated. The minimum 7 players rule. How many players do you actually need to play a game of football? The answer is 7. This is the absolute floor. A match cannot start, and more importantly, cannot continue, if either team drops below this magic number. This typically happens when a team completely loses their heads and racks up 5 red cards, the moment that 5th player walks, leaving only 6 teammates behind. The referee must abandon the match immediately. The most famous instance of this was the Battle of Bramall Lane in 2002. Sheffield United had 3 players sent off and 2 more left injured after they had already used all their substitutes. With only 6 men standing, the game was called off. While the rule exists to stop a match from becoming a farce, it has a cynical side too. If a team is losing 10-0 and just wants to go home, they could theoretically start getting sent off on purpose to trigger this rule. It is essentially football's version of a rage quit button. Youngest Ballon d'Or winner ever. Ronaldo Nazario, the legendary Brazilian striker, became the youngest winner of the Ballon d'Or at just 21 years and 3 months. Ronaldo's victory came in 1997, a year in which he was in a state of pure goal-scoring flow, scoring 47 goals in 49 games for Barcelona and Inter Milan. His victory was a testament to his incredible talent and his ability to dominate the game at such a young age. He was a constant threat to opposition defences, and his victory was a symbol of a new generation of football talent. Breaking this record is a monumental challenge. The Ballon d'Or is a highly competitive award, and a player would need to be at the absolute peak of their powers to win it. The modern game is also far more competitive, and the number of young players who are able to consistently perform at that level is a rarity. The physical demands of the modern game, with players having to constantly sprint and change direction, mean that it is difficult for a player to maintain the kind of consistent performance that Ronaldo had. A player would need to be a constant starter for a top club and a national team, all while maintaining a high level of performance. The referee is a ghost. For over a century, the referee was technically invisible. Well, not literally, but the rules treated them like a blade of grass or a goalpost. If a striker smashed a shot that deflected off the referee's backside and flew into the net, it actually counted. The ref was considered part of the field, meaning bad luck for the defence. But football finally woke up to this injustice in 2019. The lawmakers realised that having an official accidentally assist a goal was ridiculous, so the ghost rule was scrapped. Under the current laws, if the ball hits the referee and goes into the goal, changes possession, or starts a promising attack, play is immediately killed. The game restarts with an uncontested dropped ball. It is a massive improvement for fairness, effectively saving referees from the embarrassment of accidentally becoming the man of the match for the wrong team. Now, if they block a pass, they have to blow the whistle, look sheepish, and give the ball back. Fastest goal in history. The fastest goal ever recorded in professional football was scored just 2.1 seconds after kickoff by Gavin Stokes. This incredible goal, which was scored in a Scottish Junior League match, was a moment of pure chaos. The referee had just blown the whistle to start the game, and the ball was kicked directly towards the goal from the centre circle. The ball sailed over the head of the opposing goalkeeper and into the back of the net, a moment of pure magic that will be talked about for generations. This record is considered incredibly difficult to match due to the sheer improbability of the circumstances. The modern game is more tactical, and the opening kickoff is a ritual that is usually used to pass the ball around and build an attack. A player would need to have the confidence and skill to attempt a shot from the centre circle, let alone execute it perfectly. The goal was a one-off performance that combined a perfect storm of events, a perfectly weighted kick, a moment of defensive carelessness, and a player at the absolute peak of his powers. It's a record that feels like a one-off and will likely stand forever. Broken crossbar equals game over. We tend to think of football rules as being about fouls or offsides, but sometimes the game stops simply because the furniture breaks. The laws of the game are incredibly strict here. If a crossbar breaks or is displaced and cannot be safely repaired, the match must be abandoned immediately. There is absolutely no provision for an imaginary crossbar or a rope strung between posts. The most famous example is the legendary broken post game of 1971 between Borussia Mönchengladbach and Werder Bremen. During a chaotic attack, striker Herbert Laumann fell into the net with such force that the old wooden post snapped completely in half like a twig. After several minutes of awkward attempts to prop it back up using tape and hope, the referee had no choice but to call the whole thing off. While modern professional stadiums keep spare goals on standby, for a lower league team, a broken bar is the ultimate game over screen. Most consecutive games with a goal. Josef Bican, a legendary Austrian-Czech striker, holds the record for scoring in 21 consecutive top-level club games. Bican, who played in the 1930s and 1940s, was a goal-scoring machine, renowned for his incredible speed, skill, and finishing ability. His record is a testament to his unparalleled goal-scoring consistency. He was a constant threat to opposition defences, and his record is a symbol of a different era of football. This record is virtually unbreakable today. The modern game is more tactical, and a player is far more likely to be marked out of the game by multiple defenders. The level of competition has also increased exponentially, with even smaller clubs having the ability to build a strong defensive unit. To score in 21 consecutive games, a player would need to be at the absolute peak of their powers for over half a season, without suffering any significant injuries or dips in form. The modern game also features more squad rotation, which makes it difficult for a player to be a constant starter for that long. Faking a throw-in. Imagine this. It's the 90th minute. You are clinging to a 1-0 lead, and you have a throw-in deep in your own half. A defender is jumping around right in your face. Instinctively, you decide to outsmart them with a pump fake, pretending to launch the ball down the line to make them flinch, only to hold onto it. It looks clever, right? Wrong. According to the laws of the game, this is strictly forbidden. While the rules allow you to abort your run-up, you cannot physically simulate the throwing motion to deceive an opponent. This falls under unsporting behaviour, the exact same umbrella as diving or shouting to distract a player. Referees particularly hate this because it is almost exclusively used for cynical time wasting near the corner flag. If the official catches you acting out this little drama, you won't just look silly, you'll get slapped with a yellow card. Fastest Premier League hat trick. In 2015, Sadio Mane scored the fastest Premier League hat trick in history, bagging 3 goals in just 2 minutes and 56 seconds for Southampton in a match against Aston Villa. This stunning performance was a testament to Mane's incredible speed, positioning, and clinical finishing ability. His first goal came in the 13th minute, and the second and third followed in quick succession, leaving the opposition in a state of shock. This record is considered a monumental challenge to beat due to the sheer improbability of the circumstances. A hat-trick is a monumental achievement in itself, but to score 3 goals in under 3 minutes is a statistical anomaly. The modern game is more tactical, and defenders are coached to get back and protect the goal, making it difficult for a player to find that much space in a short amount of time. The record required a perfect storm of events, a quick-fire sequence of attacking moves, an opponent's momentary collapse, and a player at the absolute peak of his powers. It's a record that feels like a one-off and will likely stand for a very long time. No repicks allowed. For a goalkeeper, releasing the ball is a point of no return. Once they put the ball into play, whether by rolling it or dropping it, they cannot touch it with their hands again until another player touches it. This prevents them from dribbling a few yards and picking it back up to waste time. This rule causes pure panic in lower league football. There is a viral clip where a goalkeeper drops the ball to argue with the referee, forgetting that the ball is now live. Realising his mistake as a striker rushes in, he panics and picks it back up. Indirect free kick, 6 yards out. By dropping the ball, the keeper essentially handcuffs themselves. You will often see them screaming at their own defenders to kick it back, just so they can legally use their hands again. It turns the most powerful player on the pitch into a helpless spectator in a split second. Most penalty saves of all time. Lev Yashin, the legendary Soviet goalkeeper, holds the record for the most penalty saves of all time, with an incredible 150 saves between 1950 and 1970. Yashin, who was nicknamed the Black Spider for his incredible shot-stopping and agility, was a master of his craft. His record is a testament to his incredible reflexes, his ability to read the penalty taker's body language, and his mental strength. He was a constant thorn in the side of opposition strikers, and his record is a symbol of a different era of goalkeeping. Breaking this record is a nearly impossible task in the modern era. The number of penalties awarded in a season has generally decreased, and the quality of penalty takers has increased exponentially. Most modern keepers are also trained to guess the direction of the shot, which makes saving a penalty a far more difficult task. Yashin's record is a product of an era of less sophisticated penalty taking, where a keeper could rely on their reflexes and intuition to make a save. To break his record, a keeper would need to play for over 2 decades, be a constant starter, and have a save rate that is simply not seen in the modern game. No own goals from restarts. Imagine the most embarrassing moment of your life. You are taking a free kick on the edge of your own penalty box. You slip, shank the ball backward, and it flies straight into your own top corner. You bury your head in your hands, thinking you've just scored a humiliating own goal. But wait, the referee ignores the net and points to the corner flag. This is due to a fascinating fail-safe in the laws. You cannot score an own goal directly from a restart. Whether it's a free kick, a throw-in, or a goal kick, the ball must touch another player before entering your net to count. If it goes straight in, the goal is wiped out and the opposition is awarded a corner kick instead. It effectively turns a career-ending disaster into a minor inconvenience. It is essentially the rulebook's way of patting you on the back and saying, "Don't worry, that was too stupid to actually count." Most trophies won as a manager. Sir Alex Ferguson holds the all-time record with an incredible 49 major trophies. His legendary career at Manchester United spanned over 26 years, during which he built one of the most dominant dynasties in football history. Ferguson's success was not just about winning trophies. It was about building a culture of success and instilling a winning mentality in his players. His record includes 13 Premier League titles, 2 Champions League titles, and 5 FA Cups. Pep Guardiola, the closest active threat, has 37 trophies, but is still a long way from Ferguson's total. Breaking this record is a nearly impossible task in the modern era. The life of a football manager today is far more precarious, with the average tenure at a top club being just a few years. The pressure to win is immense, and a run of bad results can often lead to the sack. A manager would have to be at the very top of their game for over 2 decades, without suffering any major dips in form or getting fired. The competition is also fierce, with multiple managers from different clubs and leagues competing at a high level. Ferguson's record is a monument to an era of stability and sustained success that is unlikely to be repeated.